cloud-init is a Linux package that we use to automate the configuration of a VM. It has a lot of limitations, but also it brings us a lot of advantages because with cloud-init we can set, for example, the local, the language of the VM, inject SSH private keys, inject user configuration like passwords, inject keys so that public keys so that we can authenticate to the VMs without password. Actually, that's a practice that an important practice and common practice in the cloud is to don't have, cloud images of operating systems don't have passwords anymore. Fixed passwords like in the past. You need to inject a key so that you are authorized to log in. Otherwise, you won't be able to log in. And you can configure the network, interfaces, add more interfaces, or set the state of interfaces. You can work with groups, assign privileges for users, and you can add files and things like that. You can check the docs of cloud-init. That is a generic package that exists in most, I would say, any Linux distribution nowadays. So most cloud images include already this package. The way you can populate this cloud-init configuration is, in OpenStack, for example, is by using a config drive or OpenStack metadata server. If you are in a public cloud, there is going to be also a service available which is a well-known service running in a well-known IP address for the VM to gather the information that the cloud wants to inject. In this case, for example, we are using the OpenStack metadata server service, which is available in the VM. So whenever you instantiate a VM and it's a cloud image, it looks for more metadata that you as an operator want to inject into the VMs. It might be supported in other operating systems, but not all VMs, despite the image might support cloud-init, not necessarily all VMs will support cloud-init with a metadata server. So you need to check. Any public cloud supports it, OpenStack supports it, but other VMs may not. So what we are going to do is to try this. We are going to get these packages here. And then this package will be composed by 2 VNFs. It looks just like the other ones, 2 VNFs. And there is going to be a cloud config package inside, a cloud-init package inside, configuration. And the contents of this cloud-init file are going to be these ones. It instructs the cloud to pass this information to the virtual machine, and the virtual machine will know that it's going to change the password, and it's going to set the password authentication to true, because by default in a cloud image is set to false, and it won't expire. And it also will write a new file to the root folder with the specific permissions. These 2 things. So first, we will need to onboard these packages, select the correspondent network service and instantiate it, complete the form, and then we're going to see in the instance in the dashboard, we're going to connect to the VNF and check the cloud config file. If it was executed, we're going to confirm that by checking that the password works and that the file is in there. I'm going to do this using the CLI, okay? I already downloaded the packages. If you want to download them, just do double get and then link. So for example, I'm going to delete cloud-init and just get the BNF package and so if you want to explore this and see how the cloud-init file is inserted there, we can do that. I'm going to enter this. And then we'll have a directory that has the information of the package. And there you will see a cloud-init folder. So whenever you want to inject a cloud-init configuration in a BNF, you just need to include the cloud-init folder and the cloud-init configuration in the format of cloud config, which is documented in the link that is shared up there. Okay, so with this, you will be able to set a configuration, in this case, a password, and we are injecting a file. And regarding the BNFD, the only thing is that it includes now a cloud-init file and the name of the cloud-init file. That's it. I'm going to onboard this. So OSM BNFD create is going to be the cloud-init one. So this one. It's already there. Sorry. Cloud-init BNF. So what you're going to do is onboard it from the CLI. So BNFD create Hackfest cloud-init BNF, the name of the file. There is an alias to this command because you are not actually creating a BNFD. So we are trying to rename these commands. There is a BNF package. See, OSM. There is a BNF package create, which is the same as BNFD create. And there is also an equivalent for NSD create, which is NS package create. So if I run NS package create with the name of the NS, it does the same as NSD create. But we are in the process of enhancing the names so that they are not confusing. Okay, so we have the network service and the BNF. The BNF is including the BNF, it has 1 and 2 VDUs. And just the management VDU has the cloud-init file, cloud config text. The other one does not. So I'm going to instantiate it. Cloud-init test in my Vim. And let's remember one thing. Let's see how the descriptor looks like before instantiating. Hackfest cloud-init BNF, sorry, and then the YAML file. So I'm checking, the network service. I'm looking for the network that is going to be used here for instantiation. To enter this file. Because I want to see it here in my virtual machine. Okay. So the management network is mapped to a network name called MGMT. That's not what I want because I don't have a network called MGMT. I want this MGMT net VLD to map to OSMX so I can reach it, right? And I can manage it. So how do I do this from the dashboard? We still have the config file, the config a knob that we can use. So let's use that. Let me copy from here. In slide 21, you have example. And you can paste it in config here. You do that if you want to do it from the dashboard. In the case of the CLI, you use the nscreate command. And the nscreate command has a config knob here that you can also use. That's equivalent. So now if I go to my tenant, it's creating networks, datanet, internal network. And it's connecting the management net to the OSMX Beam network name that I specified during instantiation. That's what we call the instantiation parameters. Okay, so now we have 4 VMs again, but now these VMs are set up to use a specific password, and we are going to inject some files on it. Well, a file. Active. Okay, so let's switch to 37. Ubuntu at yes, OSM for you. Okay, password was set. And then let's list the root. Permission denied, sudo. Okay, and we have the hello world. Hello world.txt. There is my new hello world file. So it did what we instructed. So cloud-init file is used for what we would call Day-0. Day-0 is in the NFV world, in operation, network operations world in general, is installing the network function and making sure you can manage it at least, so that you can proceed with day 1, which would be to configure it for providing the services it needs to provide. So we tend to use a cloud-init for Day-0 in OSM. You will see that there are more slides that, we call bonus hands-on in this remote version of Hackfest, which will let you create the VNF from scratch if you want, using commands. So there are tools in OSM as well for creating the package from scratch using package create command. This is the new version of the old DevOps tool called Generate Descriptor. Maybe some of you heard of it. And this is documented in the VNF onboarding task force documentation. In the old version, or we're migrating tomorrow to this new command. This new command is not in 701, it's in your machines, but I guess it's not yet in the latest public version. But it can be installed following the developer guide on the OSM user guide. But what it does is you put OSM package create and specify an image and then the name of the VNF, and it creates a basic descriptor which you can extend. So the proposal here is for you to create it and then extend it by modifying the YAML files. So you modify the VNFB, add some things, the flavors, the interfaces, connection points, and everything. And you compare it to what you had before in this exercise. You create your cloud config file by yourselves, And then you can validate the contents of your package. For example, if I want to do this in the package that I decompressed here, I can do this, and it will show that it found a descriptor, it validated it against the OSM model, and it finds that there's no problems there. And you can create a tar file out of it also.